The time is 12:34, and you're tuned in to the Mid-Morning Talk with me, Fazila Isaac, on Salam Media. Now, on the line, we are speaking to Liza Aziz. She is the director and founding member of Action in Autism. Now, Action in Autism is a non-profit organization, and this is for autistic people and their families as well. She's also a member of the Presidential Working Group in Disability and also a mother of an autistic son. Assalamu alaikum, Lisa.
Walaikum salam. Thank you for having me.
Always, always a pleasure. So, you do work with children who are autistic. Let's start with what is autism?
So, autism is a neurodevelopmental condition. It impacts on the development on the brain and it affects a particular part of the brain. Predominantly, it affects communication and social communication. So, you and I are talking, we understand automatically the rules of communication. I speak, you listen, you speak, I listen, there's turn taking, there's joint attention. If I were with you in your presence and I pointed my finger at something, we would both look at it together and talk about it and appreciate it, etc. We understand the norm of being in society and being in a group of people and the dynamics of that, understanding nonverbal communication, and about 70% of what we say is nonverbal. We understand those cues immediately. Now, our people with autism, that is impacted, so they see the world very differently from you and I, and they don't know automatically the cues of communication. So they might have a strange approach, that they might have different kind of eye contact, sometimes no eye contact or avoiding eye contact, or they might stare at a person consistently. They may not know how to change a conversation or how to keep the conversation fluid, how to make friendships, how far to stay away from each other. It's a core processing also disability. So there might be delayed processing, especially with spoken language. If I had to say something to an autistic person, I would give them time to process what I've said. So I might not get an immediate response. Sometimes if it's something painful and they processing what has happened to them, you might get an emotion showed maybe the next day. There's something called alexithymia that is also involved with understanding emotions within themselves and with others. So they might have a different reaction to a painful moment. They might laugh, and so that can be misconstrued. And then also they might not understand the rules of society. If I go to a restaurant, I will wait for my cool drink to come to me. An autistic person who hasn't had any kind of intervention might just get up and grab a cool drink from the table alongside because they're thirsty. So you take nothing for granted with autism. And then they don't like change. So they need predictability. So we prepare our people for change. So if, for instance, there's going to be somebody coming to visit me today, then I would have to prepare my son that somebody's coming to visit and also help him understand the social situation and what he can do within that social situation. If the noise is too much, because they do feel their senses very strongly, their sense of sight, their sense of touch, their sense of hearing, all of that might be overwhelming. You and I can filter out certain sounds and listen to a person talking to us, but they might just experience it as a bombardment and might need some processing time to filter out all the sounds and concentrate on the speaking voice. So it's multifaceted, and it does impact all areas of their lives, and it can be very debilitating as well.
So, not a lot of people are able to identify children who are on the spectrum. What are some of the things that can be used to identify a child who is autistic? Because obviously there's different levels of autism. Children on the spectrum are there's some that are much or have a greater autism. How can one identify this?
Thank you, Fazila, for that question. You look at it as low or high support needs. So, somebody who might sound like a little professor, have difficulties or a quirkiness in a social situations, they come across as slightly strange. A lot of professors come across as that, and some of them are on the spectrum, undiagnosed. But they still need support going into social situations. So, and then some need more support. So they would need support for day-to-day living because the executive function, being able to move their muscles in the way that they wanted to, initiation of task and motoring to a task and organizing themselves and organizing their bodies. So you get those with high support needs that need one-on-one facilitation. Then you get those with medium support needs, some facilitation, but not as so not one-on-one maybe. And then you get those with low support needs that kind of motor through life, but still have difficulties within social situations, need downtime, etc. And I think that also is, we have to be very careful when we're giving labels, because a person who's so-called very low support needs can get into such a stressful situation that they become completely incapacitated, or they can become so overwhelmed that they reach meltdown stage and they retract into themselves, or they run away, or they scream, or whatever. And then suddenly they look like they need high support needs. So I think even those that we say have very low support needs, or level 1 autism, as a doctor would call it, they would say, a diagnostician would say level 1, level 2, level 3 autism. Even those with the lowest support needs still require accommodations, reasonable accommodations, according to the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability, as well as support.
Okay. There are some really, really great challenges that the families of autistic children go through. And what are some of these challenges? Being an autistic mom.
I think that within this population group, there is just not enough resource and support, and that is across South Africa. I mean, there's still too many people that are really struggling, especially those who are single parenting. I mean, it really drains you when you are a full-time support person or caregiver, or whatever you want to call it, and you don't get any kinds of support from government. And that is extremely hard, or the people around you, because there's such a lack of understanding, and you can go out into society and you can find that you feel so ostracized and you feel so alone. There's no respite centers where, your family is in crisis and you need to get away, or your person, for their own safety, needs to get away from you because you are just overwhelmed, you're burnt out, completely stressed out as a caregiver. Because our people require a lot of support, like going into places, going into hospitals, going into schools or whatever, and you need help. You need help, and there's not enough schools. So a lot of our children are sitting at home 24/7, and they're completely frustrated. As a co-occurrence of autism, there's very few people who have intellectual impairment. So that means that they can learn, and they need to be stimulated and taught in an educational program. But there are not enough schools to accommodate our learners. There's not enough people who understand autism. There's not enough diagnosticians that can actually treat our people. So, I mean, it's getting a little better, but certainly there's so much of room for improvement. There's so much, especially when our children or our young adults are going through adolescence, for instance, and their hormones are fluctuating, and there's nobody to understand their behavior because they feel their body so strongly, and you might have acting out behavior, and the families are left on their own to cope. And I think that's where, NGOs like Action in Autism come in, help, support, and provide guidance wherever we can and facilitate that process. And so the need for NGOs is huge because certainly government doesn't have capacity.
Mhm. So we're just going to take a quick short ad break. When we come back, I'd like for us to speak about action in autism.
Thank you
Unpack
so much.
what it is that the organization does, etc. So we'll just take a quick short break. When we come back, we'll be speaking on that. Stay tuned.
Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries, joining hands. Salam Media. Humanity sets the agenda.
Hunger ratios in South Africa are on an upward trajectory since the beginning of COVID 19. Over 23% of South African households experienced hunger last summer. At SANZAF, we aim to ease the hunger struggles of those in need by providing freshly prepared meals daily. You can be part of this by donating towards the SANZAF Meals Project. Visit sanzaf.org.za or call us on 011 834 6046. SANZAF, changing lives through development and relief.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Online schooling? Why not? Kurtuba Online Academy is the leading global online Islamic school from grade R to matric, offering South African caps and international syllabus. And it doesn't stop there. We also offer online madrasa for every grade. For more information, visit www.kurtubaonline.co.za. Kurtuba Online Academy, the leading global online Islamic school.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media.
The time is 12:47 and you're live with me, Fazila Isaac, on the mid-morning talk on Salam Media. On the line, we have Liza Aziz, who's from the Action in Autism. Liza, so tell me about Action in Autism.
So Action in Autism is a very organic organization. We arose out of a huge need. There was a groundswell of parents and autistic people who had no support in KwaZulu-Natal specifically. There were no schooling facilities. And in fact, when my son was diagnosed, and this is, you're looking back, how many years now? 18 years ago, there was just one school catering for 19 learners who had very low support needs. So by that I mean that they could talk, they could sit in a chair, and they were potty trained. So for the rest of our little ones who were diagnosed, there was no space for them. So Action in Autism hosted this huge meeting. I spearheaded that, and we had a mass meeting, and basically we asked the MEC for education to come to that meeting. And we had an open mic session, and parents just got up and cried and told them their stories, that I have this child and he's just sitting at home, or this one is running around the community and is a danger to himself and others. And, so we had really, really sad stories. And from that, we formalized ourselves. Government, we continued to lobby government, but they set aside 1.5 million rand to support autistic learners in school. And then we followed that up in 2012, again, doing more lobbying and advocacy, and they opened up more units in special needs school. until finally in 2012 we had the Autism Action in Durban, and that's when government partnered with us, and every single special needs school was provided with 200,000 rand to accommodate learners with autism and those with high support needs. So that was quite groundbreaking for us as Action in Autism. So it was something that just arose out of this urgent need in community, and our community was in service. And then we started an ECD program, an early childhood development program in 2009. Here again, there was no ECD provision for autistic learners, and we knew that there was a huge gap in the formal education system. And now we have 32 little ones that have a team of 22 staff that work with them. We have an educational psychologist, a speech language therapist, and OT intervention. They work as a transdisciplinary best practice. And we also use that as a training ground because not many people have been able to emulate the model. And that's what we are about, to share the models that we have accumulated the knowledge that we have. As part of that, we've also started biannual skills transfer programs that we did in 2012 again. And this has been consistent from 2012 to now, where we train parents. Those who cannot afford it come free of charge. And we have 6 experts in the field of autism, together with 2 autistic adults, that take them through a 2-day workshop on autism, what it means to have autism, how we can support our autistic people within the home and at school. We open that up to teachers and healthcare professionals as well, and it's CPD accredited as well as HBSCA accredited. We started up in 2018 a skills transfer and business hub. We call it the Shahumna Skills Transfer and Business Hub, from the donor who gave us the money to set it up. And right now we've got 18 adults, and it's a way in which we can accelerate their entry into the open labor market. Plus we teach them entrepreneurial skills. It's a 3-year program. So we have the first cohort that are graduating from us at the end of this year, and they learn skills like baking, catering. They learn arts and crafts. They've done beautiful mosaicing and pottery. And they also do business skills as well as admin skills, and they do gardening and plant propagation as well. So we're going to have young people that are exiting us with those particular skills. Those that cannot exit the program, we will find employment in the small SMMEs that we've created at Action in Autism, and we're opening up our coffee shop and baking school next year. And then in 2019, we started our assessment and therapy wing. So we do assessment and therapies with our educational psychologists, OT and speech language therapists, and they come through to the center. We never, ever turn anyone away. So regardless of financial income, those who can afford pay, those who cannot don't pay. Of course, we need lots of support in what we do, because we don't get any kind of funding from government. So yeah, in a nutshell, that tells you about us. We run free diagnostic clinics once a quarter. We have partnerships with wonderful new pediatric neurologists like Dr. Yabni Reddy, and specialist psychiatrists like Dr. Salduka, who give us their time free of charge to come and diagnose our people. And for the first time, we had a transdisciplinary team approach to diagnostics. And at that marathon clinic, we diagnosed 42 little ones from across the province. So it's a vast amount of work that we do, and we're very passionate about what we do, and to do it the right way and serve our people in the best way possible.
I can just tell your passion is in there, just with everything that your foundation is doing and with the people around you, your team. I am just so excited that, parents of autistic children and autistic people themselves have a home with you, they have a home with your organization. And like you said before, it is so imperative that more organizations like this come up, because the support is needed. It's really, really important.
So desperately. Yeah.
And you
We have a
spoke.
very active WhatsApp support group as well, you know, and especially during COVID, it was such a source of comfort and support, you know, both to autistic people as well as our peer community, you know, just to know that we're walking in each other's shoes and we're holding hands for each other and what we can do when things get escalated in the home and how you can provide calm and, you know, all of that was so important. And, you know, we've always done this in partnership with professionals because we don't have all the answers. We never do have all the answers. And I must say that in terms of organizational development of action in autism, on every level, we have autistic people. So we have an executive made up of 70% of parents and autistic people. And then beneath that, each of the boards run each of the projects. So your early childhood development one is run by a board of professionals all together with an autistic person. And we've done the same, replicated that model through all the projects that we span. And I think that's the strength of what we do.
And you did say that, you know, there's always a need for funding, etc. I know you guys are doing a ladies fundraising lunch in support of action in autism. Tell us about that.
Yes, and you know that we don't get funding from government, so and the funding banks are slowly closing. You know, it's not as though it was the same before COVID. After COVID, we found that the amount of donors that we've had is not as widespread and as strong as we had before, and we really need to actively fundraise, and we are very accountable. I think you have to be a credible PBO and NPO and provide your annual financial statements, and you know you must be above board with everything. And I find, Fazila, and just between you and I, that women are very strong most of the time, ethically, you know, so in terms of how you run things. And so for us, that was very important. So Shanaz Jamal, who's a wonderful parent as well, her son comes to us at our skills transfer. Wasim Jamal, he's non-speaking. She has such a passion in what she does as well. And so she's partnered with us to run this luncheon, and it's a women's luncheon. It has a theme, a Sing-Bell theme. So the best dress is going to get some fantastic prizes, emulating spring in their dress code. And we're going to have a lineup of wonderful speakers, an autistic adult who's a writer and as well as an artist, and she works from the center as well. And we're going to have a parent who has run a veteran at the Comrades Marathon and has two adult sons with autism. And it's about her juggling her life, etc. So really inspirational speakers. And then stand-up comedian Anna Lakshmi, who's also going to be performing at the event. So it promises to be an amazing event, lots of prizes, lots of fun and laughter, and excellent food provided by Manjaro. So yeah, I can only tell people that, you know, you're going to get bang for your buck at 300 rand today.
Great stuff. I think a lot of
Yeah,
people should come out and support that. It's on the
yeah.
15th of October and it's 12 for 12:30. And the venue is Action in Autism Hall, 105 Hague Road, Red Hill, Durban North. This is all correct. I see you have a lineup there as well. You know, an educator, autistic artist and writer, as well as a stand-up comedian. I think the best part of this is, you know, having to see what an adult with autism lives like, what do they look like, you know, and the fact that they are still able to hone in on the skills that they have as well, you know. Also something to look forward to is the awards for the best dressed. I know how women love dressing. Now you're actually going to get an award just for dressing up, so that is brilliant as well. Yes, I
Yeah,
do wish you
yeah.
all the best for your fundraising event. People should come out and support this. It's an absolutely fantastic initiative. I mean, it's there to assist not just your foundation, but people and children who are on the spectrum as well. Very, very important. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to join us, Liza. It's been an absolute pleasure. All the best from our side and have a fantastic day further.
Jazakallah. And
Lovely.
thanks for allowing us this time on air. And yeah, it's beautiful.
Great pleasure.
So well.
Assalamu alaikum. So that was Liza Aziz. She is the director and founding member of Action in Autism. Don't forget, go out, purchase your ticket. It's only 300 Rand. There's lunch that will be served, lucky draws and giveaways, awards for the best dressed. And this event is for ladies only. You can contact Shanaz Jamal on 083 653 7868 or Liza Aziz on 083 777 4468. Go out there and support Action in Autism. So the time is now exactly 1 p.m. and it's time for me to love and leave you. Jazakallah so much for joining us on the show today. Another beautiful day spent. From me, Fazila Isaac. Till next time, take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.